What's up, everybody? Welcome to the P.O. Vincent podcast here on the River's Edge Online Radio Network. I'm your host, Vincent Didiano, give you my point of view on movies. And also adding their point of view to discussion is, once again, my friend and co-host, Jess.
Hi, guys.
Jess, let me ask you something, because previously on the show when I've had other co-hosts, I've had little nicknames for them or little like things. What do you think of this one? You tell me you like it, you don't like it. I gave it to you, you throw it back. I don't fucking care.
Okay.
Film Fatale. Do you like it?
Oh, I like it. We're keeping it.
All right. And once again, I have Jess, the Film Fatale, here on the P.O. Vincent podcast. There we go.
That's perfect.
I had that like starting around in my head for like a couple weeks. Like, should I say it? I don't know. She's like it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
They might not like it. I don't know. I don't want to embarrass myself. Anyway. Anywho. So yeah, we're continuing on with our Tremors franchise discussion.
Oh yes.
Before we get to that, we had a little party at your place last night.
We did.
To welcome the new roommate, Ben.
Yes, welcome, Ben.
Yeah. A lot of fun. You, me, Sarah, our friend, her roommate, who also is the runner of the River's Edge Online Radio Network here. Our friend Krish, my comedian buddy, who's been on the show before. If you haven't, I'm actually wearing one of his merch shirts
Very
right
nice.
here.
Very nice.
Yes.
Fluff.
If you like political, social stand-up comedy, check out Krish.
Yeah.
That's his entire deal. Very funny guy and a great friend to both of us. But no, we had a great time last night. My girlfriend was there too. We oh God, I don't think there's a subject we didn't cover. Like we were just all over the place.
We talked a lot about everything.
Yeah, we even talked about apparently. I didn't know this, but apparently Conan and Ellen DeGeneres were at each other for a while. I don't know what's going on there.
Apparently, Ellen has like wiped the internet clean of evidence too.
Yeah.
We sat there for maybe a half an hour trying to find these video clips that no longer exist on the internet.
Oh man! But anyway, it was a good time.
Anything with enough money.
Yeah. And we were being smart about it. For any of our listeners wondering, it was just a very small group of people.
Small groups of people,
Yeah.
mostly outside. You got a social distance. You can still see your friends. Just everybody be careful.
Yeah, because we didn't even have 10 people there.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I don't think I've had any sort of gathering with 10 people.
Ever?
I mean, pre-COVID days.
Pre-COVID.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Now we live in the time of COVID, where you basically have to have a MySpace top 10 of friends.
Yeah.
The same circle of people that you just maybe get to see.
Keep it small. Make sure they're being smart.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to, because we were supposed to have a guest today.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't make it. Hopefully he'll be on next week. And real great guy. Can't wait for him to get on the show. But yeah, I didn't know if we wanted to wear masks or not.
I'm down.
I would. I'm ready because I don't want to.
It's nice. We have enough space between us here. It's safe. But
yeah.
I think adding a third person, you're going to see us rock some real nice masks.
Yes. Oh yeah. Very nice. I got floral patterns. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
fashionable with them now. We're going to make fashion statements. They are.
My girlfriend has like a cat one.
TJ Maxx is selling outfits with matching masks. I think it's great. I think that's phenomenal. Yes, please sell me a matching mask for my outfit.
Oh shit. All right. Well, anyway, I just wanted to talk some normal stuff. So you, the viewers or listeners, wherever you're listening or viewing us from, so get to know us a little bit. But yeah, remember, just because things are different doesn't mean you can't have a life. Mm-hmm. All right. But speaking of lives, our lives have been focused on this movie recently. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Tremors 4.
I'm going to be real honest up front.
The legend begins.
This is my favorite movie of the franchise so far. Okay. I love this film.
All right.
We're, moving on. I don't know how I'll feel, but so far 4 is definitely my favorite.
Well, this is going to be an interesting episode because I'm going to be honest, I think so far this is my least favorite.
Oh, no!
It's finally happened. The confrontation begins. Who will win in cinematic conquest? But anyway, so let's begin it. We'll start off with our trivia.
Yeah.
Jess, tell us the basics about this.
This film came out in 2004. It stars Michael Gross once again, but he is playing, is it Hiram?
I think it's pronounced Hiram.
Hiram Goomer, who is like Bert's great whatever grandfather is what you're supposed to assume. Then we have Billy Drago, who comes in as Black Hand Kelly for a real short but important role in this
Yeah,
film.
he was a guy in white in The Untouchables.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Sarah Botsford plays Christine Lord. She's a woman that owns a hotel in the town that we're in. Brent Rome plays Juan. Lydia Luke plays Luan Chang, and Lo Ming plays Pyong Lin. This movie had a $5 million budget. I finally started looking up these budgets because I know we've been talking a lot about, the special effects
Yes.
and how good or how bad they are. So I think that having an idea of a budget for the film gives us a better idea of how good or how bad this is going to go. It's once again directed by S.S. Wilson. The screenplay is S.S. Wilson, Brent Maddock, and Ron Underwood. So we have the same team of guys working on this one. Interestingly, this movie takes place in 1889.
Yes, yeah, about 100 years.
It's exactly 100 years before
The original film.
Because the original film came out in 90, but it was filmed during 89, so the events in the film take place in 1989.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And the basic plot for this film is, as we stated, is set 100 years before the events of the original film. The town of Perfection is just been settled, but it's called Rejection. And there's a silver mine that the town depends on, but unfortunately there's a series of gruesome deaths, possible murders in the mine, and it's scaring people away. So the owner of the mine, Hiram Gummer, the ancestor of Burt Gummer, supposedly, comes to the town to try to get the mine going again, but he's a bit of a privileged rich guy.
He's a dandy. Dandy is definitely the correct
word.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's exactly what he is.
Yeah, and slowly but surely we find out that the events of the original movie were not the first time that the subterranean creatures came forth. So yeah, this is it's cowboys versus graboids.
It is very much a sci-fi western.
Yeah.
Which I think is a combination of two genres of movie we don't see often. It's one of my favorite combos.
No, I like it. I know not a lot of people did, and I'm not saying it's a perfect film, but I liked Cowboys versus Aliens. Did you remember that film?
Loved Cowboys
I
versus
thought it was good.
Aliens.
I thought it was good.
The minute I saw that trailer, a friend and I were just like, we have to see this. And we saw it in theaters. And it was hilarious, but also very good. And I still can't believe Harrison Ford is in that movie.
Yeah, he's a little weak because he's kind of like
to do this. Good for him.
Yeah. No, he was good. He was fun, and he played. He looked good as a cowboy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He always looks good in Western.
So, this is something we talked about during the last episode, and I want to bring. And apparently, you want to bring this up again too.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you'll see we got the poster up on the green screen back here. If you're not watching, once again, I recommend look up the poster for Tremors 4, because the poster for Tremors 3, as I said last time, was very janky. It was very obvious, like basic kind of Photoshop thing. Even for early 2000s, that was like, come on now, come on. But this one, I like this poster a lot better.
This poster is really nice, and it's also the very first time we have an actual depiction of a graboid on the poster.
Because in
what they actually look like.
Exactly, because the first one you just see like a close up of one of the snake tentacles. Second one, we have those three not graboid things. I don't know what that was, concept art, or somebody.
They looked like lamprey. They were weird.
Yeah, because when I first saw the poster for Tremors 2, I thought, oh my god, the graboids are like mutating or getting bigger. Yeah, well they did change, but not
that
on poster. Yeah, and the last one was once again they reused the same image from poster 1 of the tentacle snake thing. And it's just a bad Photoshop with just Burt in the middle. And one of the reasons I like the photo is, one, we actually just see the graboid, its huge beak mouth with like those mandible bottoms and the snakes coming out. You actually see the head of a graboid, and I like that. Secondly, I like how Hiram, not Burt. I'll probably accidentally call him Burt throughout the course of this.
I know. I'm going to try and be really careful about it.
Yeah, it's not just him.
Like Goomer.
Gummer, yeah. It's not just him on the poster this time. It's him and several of the other characters, so it's not, as awesome as...
This is definitely more of an ensemble cast because of the character of Hiram and what he's like.
Yeah, yeah, because on the last one, as awesome as Burt is, these movies are always about a duo or maybe a trio.
Right. It's always a group.
Yeah, so I like it that there's multiple people on the poster.
I like it that there's multiple people. I really enjoy Michael Gross in this film because of how different Hiram is.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a nice little departure.
It is. It's very nice. We see some of why Bert is the way that he is through his ancestry. Like,
and I have some. There's a problem there for me. I will bring it up later.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it is really cool to see him play this like total opposite of Bert.
Totally different character.
Totally, but yeah. So it's just another reminder that like Michael Gross can play different characters because he has done other things.
Well, I was just telling Vince, I think the other day, I'm watching ER, rewatching it, and Michael Gross is in it as Dr. Carter's father, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure, no, that's definitely Michael Gross.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't watch ER, so I didn't know he was on that show. I mainly know him for the Tremors franchise.
Some great cameos in that show. I'm not gonna lie.
Whatever that sitcom was with Michael J. Fox, because he played Michael J. Fox's father. But I can't remember. That show was like before I was born or around when I was a baby.
You were just too young.
I was too young.
It was definitely before my time.
It didn't get a lot of reruns. It didn't get a lot, at least on the channels I watched as a kid. But anyway. So good poster on this movie.
Yeah, great poster.
So the plot is once again there's a silver mine. People are killed. We see one of the main characters. There's a problem that come up with me. The characters that I'm going to just say this right off the bat. Most of the characters I got nothing out of. I found
in this one.
Yeah, I found a lot of the characters kind of boring and forgettable. And
I like Juan.
Yeah. Well, Guan gets the most screen time,
Yes.
I would say, because he teams up with Hiram the most. So you got that. But most of the other characters I found kind of uninteresting. Like there's the one we got Takopa, played by August Schellenberg.
Mm-hmm.
He's the Indian, and he has two purposes in the film. A gag about there's a cigar store Indian outside the hotel, and he says it looks like him, and it doesn't. But it's like
this is a statue of me.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's like to have a statue of yourself?
Yeah.
Every minute strive.
And there's a scene in the movie where it's set up for a grab. It's set up for a graboid killed later, but it's awkwardly placed.
Yeah, I will say that was a little awkwardly placed.
Yeah.
There's this scene where he's digging, and Christine Lord asks him, "What are you digging for?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I'm digging for a flagpole." Nevada hadn't been established as a state yet, so there was no state flag for Nevada.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. I mean, that's a neat little factoid to throw into this movie that Nevada doesn't have a flag yet. It's not a state, but it was just very oddly placed.
Right, because
it was out of.
We at that point in the movie, Hiram had went with Guan, who had worked in the mine, taken back to the mine to talk to the remaining miners that haven't fled, that haven't left. And we're at the mine, we investigate the mine, and I think it's at the point where we see it hasn't. Where they had checked out the mine, it seems fine. They're just settling for the night, and then we go back to the town real quick to see him doing the flagpoles, and then we go back to the mine. I'm just like, why did we?
It's very out of place.
It seemed like a scene that would be at the very beginning of the movie where you see the
like
people
before Hiram even gets to
exactly town. Like you see what you get more of the personality of the people living in the town or what they do in day to day, which we do get some of that. But that one little scene feels like it should be back there.
Yeah.
Like it was like so weird. Like we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit. We're jumping ahead a little bit here, but it's just one of those because we're talking about characters. Like
it's a continuity issue.
Yeah. It's out of place. But anyway, we'll go through the plot normally like we usually do. The deaths happen at the mine. We see one person like they're digging and they're saying.
I like this opening. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not a bad opening.
It starts out real fast, because you see the men in the mine and they're digging, and then all of a sudden one disappears, and another disappears, and there's a huge massacre, and they aren't quite sure what's going on or what's leading these men.
Yeah, the first guy disappears altogether. Another guy he gets pulled up into the ceiling of the mine, and like Guan pulls him back down, and his head gone. And it was kind of funny to me because it's obviously just like a mannequin because it was like that kind of mannequin limp or just like
some cheesy gore factor in this film.
Sure. Which is nothing new to
not at all.
To Tremors franchise.
We didn't have a lot of it in 3, but I feel like they make up for it in this one.
Then it's word at the mine people are leaving the town of Rejection.
Yeah, everybody mass exodus.
Yeah.
And they get this telegram.
Yeah. Which, by the way, can we talk about real quick? Who fucking names a town Rejection?
I like that they make a joke about that though at the beginning of the movie. Like, maybe we should not have named this place Rejection.
Yeah. Because later in the film, they at the end of the film they changed the name of the town to Perfection for I get marketing purposes. after the after the Grab Boys are defeated,
Yes.
they change it to perfection because like they got to get people back. So you know, good plan. Yes, you should have changed it.
Definitely change
Once
that.
again, who like was it already named Rejection Valley and then people settled there? Like I don't know. Like didn't go too deep into the history, but it is.
But yeah, there's a nice throwaway joke. Like, why did we name? It's like the perfect name now.
Yeah. But anyway, so they telegraph, or no, the owner of the mine sends them like a telegraph or something, something like that. They do have a telegraph there in the town. Send it, telling them like, oh, I'm on my way to fix the problem. I've heard about what's going on. I'm on my way. Don't worry about it. So he shows up in a stagecoach. A few people get off the stage. There's like 2 people who get off, and then the rest of the room in the stagecoach is taken up by a ton of luggage. And they're like, where is this guy? The stagecoach pulls away, and there he is with his back turned to the people.
Standing just very proud.
Before he's even fucking said anything, like that little visual, like, I'll give the movie this credit. That little visual, like, he already has his back turned to these fucking people.
He is entirely out of place.
Yeah. He turns around and they're like, Hiram Gummer, and they're expecting him to be this big, cool city guy, but no, he just turns around and he's like this posh, privileged gut dude, a dandy, as you like to say, and dressed right off the bat. He he's like, he talks like, who am I speaking with? He's got that kind of speech to him, and he's looking around the town. And he's like, because he's never been here before. He owns the mine, right? But he's never actually been to the town before. Apparently, we find out later his father bought the mine and he just inherited it.
He inherited it.
He's never been like this far down country. He's like from New York or something, and he's just looking around the town and he's shown the hotel, and he's like, the hotel doesn't have 4 walls. It only has one actually solid wall.
His room is a tent, and Christine's like, you're very observant.
Yeah. Because they're not taking it like they're trying to be cool with him because he owns. They need him, but at the same time they're having like those little passive aggressive like shots at him.
Before we forget, though, I love this opening scene with Hiram coming to town because he doesn't know that the mine has been closed. Like there was an issue, and he didn't know that it had been closed.
You're
because
right,
of it.
right. He knew there was an incident.
And there's this moment where Hiram says something like, he says some fancy dandy way of, I feel like I was left out of needed to know information.
Yeah.
Like he repeats Bert's line from the previous film, and I just loved that.
Yeah, there's a few moments like that throughout the film where he says like little like Bert lines, like the seedlings of the Bert lines. Like,
yes, I thought that was very nice.
Yeah, it's
very
nice.
Touch.
This franchise loves its callbacks. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
So anyway, like, and he's like, he gets this bed hotel, and he's like, what is there to eat? And she's like, well, we don't have much. We have, I don't even remember what she said.
I can make you a pot of beans. That's what she says.
And he's like, nonsense. You must have like flour and
ginger. And I can't remember the other thing, but he wants her. He makes her make him a ginger cake.
Yeah.
Like.
And later he's eating the cake, and the youngest Wong, because it's the married couple and they got a son. He walks up and Hiram's like, oh, do you want the rest of this cake? And the kid's like, yeah, I love it. He's like, go grab my thing and bring it back, and you can
brandy and bring it back.
Yeah, but he eats the last bit of cake, and the kid's like, why'd you do that? And he's like, lesson for you to learn. Never, if someone can stab you in the back or like turn or do something.
If you can take advantage of someone,
take advantage. Yes,
do it.
Yeah. So we see Hiram's point of view on the world. Like he's he doesn't really, he's not really loyal to anyone, but he expects everyone to treat him well because that's the way he was brought up.
Typical rich dandy.
Yeah. So basically, nobody in the town likes him, but like once again, they need him. So Hiram goes with Guan to the mine to talk to the last like 3 miners left who haven't run off.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 of them. It's just a small group.
Yeah. And they're all like, when are we going to get paid? And he's like, like, how do we know the mine's safe? We want to get paid. And that's a big thing. Like, they want to get paid. And it's like, Hiram's like, they want to get paid for not working. And it's like, well, dude, they haven't been paid already. So,
They haven't been paid already, and you're asking them to go into a mine where 7 people just disappeared.
Were ripped apart.
Probably pay them to go into the mine.
Yeah. And yeah, and at first, like, he's like, go inside and see if it's okay. And they're all looking at him like, he's like, fine, I will go inside, you know.
Or he agrees to pay them, but then says, I'm going to supervise so I can make sure that I'm paying you to do what you're actually told to do.
Yeah. So they go in the mine. They see the spots where people died. The one spot where a guy just disappeared.
They find some body parts.
Yeah. But they check around. There doesn't seem to be any weird smells or anything of that sort.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, okay, everything seems fine. And then they go back outside, and Guan's like, we're gonna have to rest here for the night. And Hiram's like, no, we must return to the town. And
I need trees, is what he says. It's so funny.
Yeah. And that's the moment where we go back to the town to see Tacopa.
Tacopa is building
the post.
hole.
The hole. That was like, once again, that's just a weird place. Yeah. And maybe it was symbolic of the mine. I don't know. But they go back, and it's nighttime, and Hiram has set up a
hammock.
Why couldn't I think that fucking word?
Yeah, they make camp. Hiram has this hammock.
Yeah.
And then, what is his name? It's like, is it Drippy or Sloppy? There's
Drippy, Sloppy,
something.
Sneezy.
No, his name is really something like that. It's really funny.
Hold on. Soggy.
Soggy, thank you. So
we went through all possibilities.
And he starts to play the accordion, and one of the other men is just like, can you not? Can you go play that for the horses? Yeah. And so I felt bad for Soggy for a minute because I knew exactly what was about to happen.
Oh, we all know what's going to happen.
And poor Soggy. He goes and he plays his accordion to the horses, and then it just abruptly stops.
Yeah.
And the horses start making some like real interesting noises, like they're terrified.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "What the fuck happened to Soggy?" Like the horses go running off, and the guys are just like, "What did Soggy do? Like if I find you, I'm gonna beat you for this." And they start to look for him, and he's just gone.
Yeah.
And this causes a lot of noise, which we all know is not a good thing to do when you're in a Tremors film. And one by one, these grab lights, these baby tiny versions of graboids. Honestly, this is one of my favorite scenes because you have after two of the men die, you have Juan and Hiram who jump up onto the rocks, and the one guy is not on the rocks.
Yeah.
And they're yelling at him like, "You need to come over here! Like, you need to come over with us!" And as he's running to get to them, two of these things come at him from each side. They fly at him, and obviously he's dead.
Yeah. So Tremors 4 introduces us to infant graboids, apparently.
Yeah, I didn't know what the internet call. I saw grab lights, and I was like, "That's cute. I'm gonna grab that. Grab lights.
Grab lights.
Grab lights.
Okay, grab lights.
Like a light graboid.
Yeah. Yeah, they're small. They're smaller than a normal graboid, but they're actually pretty good. They're like 2 to 3 feet long.
Yes.
They still got the beak mandible thing going on. The spikes are only along this one edge on each side, to like a little pincer almost on the back. They don't seem to have the tentacle tongues thing. Not yet. I'm guessing that's
not yet.
Yeah. But yeah, the cool thing about them, besides being smaller, is that they leap the fuck out of the ground and tackle
really
you,
fast.
man. Yeah,
they're very fast.
Yeah. So they got speed on their side compared to their adult version. But even though their adult versions are very fast too, but they can to shoot through the air like a whale or a dolphin come out of the water.
They killed that one miner, I honestly.
Oh yeah.
Because it's he's not going to make it across to the rock. That's coming. But the way that they just fly at him from both sides was hilarious.
Yeah. Guan takes out one with a pickaxe. And while they're on the rock, they figure out why do you come after us? And because the accordion, they were like,
there's this running bit with Juan. Juan wants a hat. And he's poking the dirt with a stick to try and get the hat over to him, and that's when they realize, it can hear us.
Yeah, because Hiram was making tea. The tea kettle was going off, and that's when they figured it out. So they decide to hightail it back into town because they realize they can go over the hills are all rock, so they can go back to town.
Well, another throwback to the first Tremors film.
Yeah. And they're following the rules of the Tremors universe. It's a Tremors survival guide. Find a big rock, get on top of it.
Rule number one.
So they get back to town, and at first, like, they're like, like, what do we do? I don't know what to do, because, like, they had guns on, they tried shooting them, but these things are so fast unless you're an accurate shot.
Oh, we should also mention Hiram does not know at this point how to shoot a gun.
Oh yeah, no, he's
Hiram
not.
has never touched a gun.
Yeah, never. He's not nothing. It's like that's another difference between him and Bert, and the Bert we know of our time period. That he's very different guy. He's not a fighter, a gunfighter, or fist to fist fighter. He's lived a very posh life. People do stuff for him. People do stuff so much for him that he comes up with the idea that we should hire a gunslinger to come in and kill the graboids.
Absolutely.
The grabites.
I will say there's some anachronisms in this film that I find very interesting, especially with Hiram. For example, I find it very hard to believe that any man in 1889 was not taught how to ride a horse, especially someone rich. Like, I feel like you would know how to ride a horse.
It does, but I think the idea, he has a bicycle.
It's funny. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and the bicycle, chains did not exist for bicycles in 1889.
Really?
Yeah, that would have been a leather. It would have been I'm a bike. I ride bikes all the time. I really like bikes. It would have been a leather strap. And chains came later. So I thought it was just really, really funny that that's a little out of place. It's not something most people would think about, but I noticed.
Well, evidently in the Tremors universe, they developed chain technology much earlier. He doesn't. He's got his bike, which I can kind of buy because they make it out like that he's from the city. Like he never goes out. Like I can buy the horse thing.
They have paved roads. I assume.
Yeah, they have paved roads. Not that there weren't back then probably still people riding horses, but it was at that point. I'm assuming it's like a little few and far between. I can kind of see it. They come up with the idea to hire a gunslinger, right? They sent out a telegram like gunslinger needed, blah, 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 we'll pay, blah, 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 all that stuff. Even though we find out, I think we find out at this point that Hiram is actually broke.
Oh, yeah. His dad, when his dad died, he was a little loony and took all of their money and put it into the silver mine. Yeah. Which is now closed.
Right.
So he has no money.
So if the silver mine does not open, he cannot keep the town open. He cannot pay the workers. Everything is dependent on the mine. So they do now at this point in the movie where it feels like things go into a bit of because usually in the Tremors films, once we encounter that point in the film, okay, here's the threat. That it's
take care of it quickly.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster ride. From that point on, it's all about dealing with it. With this, it's like we have a break.
A month.
Yeah,
a month passes.
They shoot ahead a month.
I actually enjoy that though, because you have to think how long does it take for someone to respond and then travel all the way to rejection to help them out. So I almost said Bert. Hiram is stuck.
There we go.
In rejection for a little over a month, getting to know the townspeople, having some character growth. I gotta give them props for this.
A little bit with the kid.
A little bit, yeah, especially with the kid. Yeah. There's a scene where Hiram's bike breaks. Juan tells him, "You don't want to ride that here. It's not cut out for the terrain." And he's trying to fix it, and the little kid sees that he's trying to fix it, and Hiram can't get it. So the little kid ends up fixing his bike for him, and he takes the bike to Hiram, and he's like, "I fixed this for you, but you have to pay me to get it back because I did this labor." Like he takes that really awful lesson Hiram taught him in the beginning of the movie and flips it and teaches Hiram a lesson with it.
Yeah,
because he repeats the words back to him. Words of advice, Mr. Gummer. Anyone that can take advantage of you will, and if you can take advantage of someone, do so. Yeah,
which would explain the way Victor Wong is in the first movie, because he's always trying to scam Earl and Val. I'll give you boys $10 for this or something. But meanwhile, it's like fucking worth probably hundreds if you think about it. But
and Hiram realizes what's going on, and he's like, "I'll tell you what, I'm a little strapped for cash, but we can barter." And he gives the kid the bike, and then he helps him learn how to ride it. Yeah. It's this cute moment where oh, you redeemed yourself because you were really a jerk to that kid earlier.
But eventually a gunslinger does show up. It's Blackhand. What's his name? Blackhand Kelly.
Blackhand Kelly,
played by Billy Drago, as we mentioned earlier, was the man in white in The Untouchables. Great movie.
I really like his entrance because Hiram is making some comment to Christine that he'll change his ways when the Grim Reaper comes to town, and then the door just bursts open, and here's this gunslinger just dressed in all black.
Yeah. Yeah, so he comes in, and and he's like, Mr. Badass, I've got the guns, right? And then at first they're like, we want a demonstration. And he does this fun little thing, I'll admit this is fun, where he's like, he looks at the one guy, he's like, see that apple over there? Throw it at me, right? And the guy's like, what? He's like, throw the apple at me. He takes it, and you're like, oh my God, he's gonna shoot the apple out of the air. He throws the apple, and then he just catches it and takes a bite out of it. And they're like, what the hell? And then he's like, what the hell? And they start like complaining, and he pulls his gun out, and he just blows fucking like sausages and deli meats off the fucking wall.
So fast that he like cooks one of them. It's really funny. Like they pick up one and it's like smoking.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know how realistic that is, but it was a really fun scene.
Yeah, it was fun. And finally, the next day, they take Hiram, Guan, and Black Hand Kelly all go out back to the mine to try to find the creatures. And they do, and they're making noise, but none of them are showing up. They're not saying anything. And Hiram Black Hand thinks like, you guys are messing with me. They're trying to make a fool out of Black Hand Kelly. Like he's ready to like.
He's pissed.
Yeah.
Then they find a place where they have had the hot spring running, and it's created this trench or ravine type.
Yeah, like a mini pond.
Yeah.
A mini pond.
Of very, very hot water. And they find this, and there are a bunch of eggs that have hatched in this hot water. So theoretically, these eggs have been there for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And the town accidentally thawed these eggs out, and the heat from the water made them hatch.
I guess they were buried deep in the dirt.
Yeah, that's kind of the sense I got from that scene.
I don't get how that. Here's the thing that doesn't match up. I don't get how the. Once again, they established in the second movie that these things existed before dinosaurs.
Right.
They are Precambrian creatures. But they established in the third film that during the third stage of their life, the ass blaster stage, that the ass blasters are what make the eggs and carry them and fly them around. So, I guess it got buried over the millennias or something.
Yeah, and we also we don't really know how long it takes them to hatch either.
Yeah.
That's something that hasn't been established. So, my assumption is that the ass blasters go and find a safe place to hide the eggs, and then it just needs certain conditions to hatch.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is
once again, we're talking
how
about
to make a basilisk bullshit. You got to stick a chicken egg underneath a frog and 90-degree angle, and and then you get a crab one.
well, once again, I can see maybe the eggs getting buried over time as things shift. As millions of years ago, the land changes. I can see that kind of stuff.
It's just weird that they wouldn't fossilize and they would hatch.
Yeah, because I still don't explain what are these things like? There must be extraordinary creatures because.
Yeah.
How do
your eggs survive that long?
Yeah, even in the hot, they would have been fossilized or rotten at minimum.
Yeah.
The graboids are weird. That's part of the thing that's weird about giving them origins is that we're at the point where certain details just don't make sense.
Yeah, there are some holes in
the mystery of the first film. I think fit a little better. So maybe they should have brought them up.
But I do like that we have the eggs because now we know that these are baby.
Yeah,
graboids.
These are baby graboids. They're
we
larval
finally
stage.
get to see the larva stage.
Yeah, before they digivolve into the champion form.
Giant worm.
Yeah. Oh God, I love Digimon back in the day. Anyway, so eventually so after Blackhand sees the eggs, he's like, "You boys might have been telling the truth after all."
I think you weren't lying.
Yeah. So they're going through they decide, okay, I can't remember why they go away from the mine.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but anyway, they start to
leave the mine area.
Yeah, they leave the mine area, and they're walking through the valley, and they find some scales that were on the grab light's back, and they're like, they shed them. So now we know, okay, it's been a month. They're shedding something.
They're shedding, which means they're probably molting, and oh no.
Yeah, they're probably, or at least growing into full.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that's a defense play from when they're babies and it molds off just for a weak spot or something. I don't know. But they find one of the other townsfolk that we haven't seen in a few scenes, Apparently, there was
Is
an
it Old
older.
Man Fred
It's
or
old
something?
Fred. We have an
Yeah.
older old Fred.
Old man Fred,
Yeah.
who is also a drunk and like
And a weirdo. He's like, he's
Yeah.
weird in the beginning of the film. He's like, when Hiram shows up, like, I bet you get like a real shiny humdinger of a gun or some shit like that.
Or he's like, I bet you have enough money to like take something
Gold
off a wet
teeth.
mule or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was
yeah.
so bizarre.
Yeah, it was like, okay, like, if you're going to die, I'm going to be okay with that.
And just like the original old Fred,
yeah.
he's dead.
They find his fucking head in his wagon that's broken in half. So we know either been taken care of. And then they go to what's it, like a mule station?
Yeah, it's a mule station.
That's an abandoned mule station. And they get there and and they stay there for the night. But in the middle of the night, the graboid tentacles come through and try to get at them, and like they almost do, and like all of a sudden they pop up and they're like, "What the fuck?" And Black Hand Kelly pops off a few rounds, nails him. Like he's Black Hand Kelly.
He
He's
is
a great,
good.
yeah.
He is a good marksman.
And something we should note about Black Hand Kelly, he's serving as a mentor type character for Hiram.
Yes,
Like
because remember, he's never shot a gun before.
Hey.
So Hiram is learning how to shoot from Black Hand Kelly.
He's not great or anything, but at least he's like getting some lessons and teaching him other stuff like know your enemy, like know
Right.
know what you're fighting, know where.
Some of the it's like groundwork for
Bertisms.
some of Bert's really strong virtues come out in this small scene between Kelly and Hiram.
So they're in there, and then eventually at one point, like the whatever these, they can't get in. They figure, the floor of this mule station has these big thick wood beams, and we see the tentacles come in, grab them, and start to pull them out. And Hiram's like, use the telegraph and telegraph the town. And Guan's like, I don't know how to do Morse code. And
what?
And Hiram's like, doesn't matter. Somebody has to be hearing, and they'll figure something's wrong. So just start tapping away. And he's tapping, and like they're tapping for a long time. And then all of a sudden, boom! Straight out of the ground, the graboid comes out. This is the first time we're seeing the graboid, and it's like
full grown already.
Yeah, and it seems to be an animatronic puppet. Guan, and it launches like Guan into like the ceiling, and he grabs onto like a ceiling beam.
And he's holding on for dear life.
And the tentacles are coming out trying to grab him, and like Black Hand Kelly's like, holy shit! And they're just like, fire, shoot, bang, bang, bang. They're shooting, and eventually the graboid does go back down, and it's a full animatronic puppet. The tentacles seem CGI.
Yeah, the tentacles are CGI, but the actual body very much seemed like an animatronic or a puppet.
That's something, as we'll go through this movie, I was noticing. Since the first one, I mean, this one uses very little CGI. There seems to be a lot of animatronic work and some like puppet work.
Yeah, we go back to that, which again, I think that's another reason why I like this movie so much in the franchise. I am a huge fan of animatronics and puppetry. I prefer it, especially to early CGI, because early CGI, I mean, we've talked about this. Early CGI can be so bad.
Yeah.
And this is 2004. There's some bad CGI in the early 2000s.
Yes. Yeah.
So
everyone was just like, we could do anything, throw CGI at it.
We're gonna ruin all the Star Wars movies by putting CGI in it, George Lucas.
Yeah, because this is that point. This is that point in like film history where it's like everybody, like audiences, love the CGI stuff, but many filmmakers still hadn't come to truly understand it and how to use it properly.
So there was an overusage.
Because you had the Star Wars prequels where George Lucas was like, I want this to happen. Make this happen.
Just ruin it. Like, why?
When they're driving through the city, have a big thing in front of them.
Yeah, sure. They're driving through the city. We don't need to just traffic. Lots of traffic.
I want stormtroopers. Make more stormtroopers.
And like the people on the production team are just like, no,
George.
Can
we got some we got some puppets over here. I don't want puppets. This is the Muppets. I want more. Give me more stuff.
CGI.
This is my world. I'm the god. Anyway,
we're gonna get like a cease and desist letter.
I know. George Lucas is like, leave me alone.
Fuck you, George Lucas.
My friend said Disney betrayed me. Don't you guys be mean.
Oh, shouldn't have sold the franchise, my dude. Anyway,
whatever. You get me. If somebody were like, I'm going to offer you $4 billion for your podcast, I'd be like, okay, I can live with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck you.
I could live with.
It wasn't even worth that much at the time.
No,
did you know that they offered him They offered him 3.75 billion.
Wow.
But they paid more for Marvel. He's like, you paid those Marvel guys more. This is fucking Star Wars. Give me 4 billion, and I can't have it. And against what the people told Bob Iger, who's the former CEO of Disney, they paid him 4 billion. Anyway,
wow.
Back to
Tremors.
yeah, the special effects work. I respect the movie for going back to like practical effects using, and it's like some of the puppetry seems a little stop motion at one point or another. I could be wrong about that, but but you know what? It fucking works out for the most part. I mean,
yeah, it really does.
You can tell in certain points, but considering this film's budget, I think they did it as well as they could, and I can respect that. Like I said, I have other problems with the film, but I won't. But for trying not to use too much CGI.
Props.
Yeah, especially since you only got a budget of $5 million. Yeah.
That's a nice pun. Props, guys.
Yes, props to the props. But anyway, yeah, so that they're at this point where like and here's one thing about like the one thing that bothers me about this movie. So the grab boys have to pull away the floor beams one at a time, and it's taking them hours and hours to do this. I feel like in any of the other movies, this wouldn't have been a problem for the grab boys. Like they could have burst through, especially now that they're full grown. I feel like there's something that comes up in the movie where the power of the grab boys have been downgraded a little bit.
Maybe because they're still young, maybe they aren't as strong. Like they might be fully grown, but it's like how you get a dog and it's fully grown, but it's still a puppy for like 4 years.
Okay.
There's like some animals, like the body's fully grown, but mentally your animal is still kind of not an adult. So maybe I don't know.
Well, there's other moments in the film where it's like I feel like the grab boy would have been on top of them by now. Or something. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I get we're back in cowboy times and they don't have the modern resources they do in the other films. So I feel like there's certain moments in the film like the grab boy should be right on top of you guys right now. Like especially later during the final like confrontation with the grab boys later in the film. But yeah, there's a few moments. But anyway, so they're trying to they're trying to keep off the grab boys, and one of the grab boys literally sneaks up on Black Hand Kelly and just devours him. And it's a cool thing because you see it's like the actors in the animatronic going like you can swung back and forth
really neat.
like it's a
very dramatic death.
Yeah. But thankfully, Christine Lord, who plays Sarah, she shows up in a wagon. They hop in a wagon and they take off, and the grab boys chasing him. There's one of those cool shots where they go over just like a little bridge, a tiny little bridge, because there's like a little like micro river or whatever you want, a creek, I don't care. But even though it's dry, it's all dry. And they go over the bridge, and the grab boy's right behind him, and you see the grab boy go over like under the bridge from the one point of soil to the other. And I thought it was like a cool little shot they had there. And then eventually, and the grab boy's catching up to them. And what did they do to gain? Oh, they crack one of the horses in the ass or something, or I can't remember. What do they do to the horse? They do something to the horse to make it like really take the fuck off.
They agitate the horse to make it go faster.
Yeah,
I think they do. I think they cut it. I think the term is called cutting a horse loose. It's when you hit them a certain area on their backside that is more painful than another area, and it just like.
Yeah. But anyway, they take off. They get back to the town, and like Hiram's like, "We need to give up. If Black Hand Kelly can't kill these things,
ready to give up."
Yeah, and the rest of the people in the town are like, this is our home. We have to make it.
This is where all our stuff is. We can't just leave.
I'm like, you motherfuckers are gonna like. I'm kind of with Hiram in the scene. I'm a little bit like, I get that they're trying to stand their ground and everything, but it's like, what the fuck are you guys gonna do against these things? You got nothing. You got fucking nothing. Like it's one thing that usually turns. Universe people start coming up with plans. We've seen a little bit of like ingenuity in the film, but they're just like, maybe they won't show up.
It does seem like all is lost, and
maybe they won't show up because they have to go through a certain part of the valley to get to the town. Apparently, it's not been brought up in the other movies, but
they're not at the town yet. They are. The
valley. For some reason, Perfection Valley seems much rockier than it does in the previous movies. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
I mean, these are like kind of like. Feel like things they've added. This is what makes me wonder if like Tremors 4 is out of continuity or something, like it's own canon. Because I feel like there are continuity issues that come up in the film. But anyway, Hiram. So make a long story short. Hiram leaves. Like he takes a horse. And we see him like in the next town, which I think is Bixby. The first time we've ever actually seen Bixby, I believe. Because they always mention in the other films Bixby. And he's like soaking in a bathtub at a local hotel, which, by the way, he looks wet, but I don't think that bathtub was full of water because they kind of come up where you're like, just close enough where you can see him and his chest, but you can't see, his
Anything else?
Yeah, you can't see each other. But like the bathtub looks fucking empty to me. Was that just me?
No, it does. It's kind of funny. It's a funny use of a prop though.
It's like that scene.
There's no water in it, but he's moist.
Like he's wet. It's like that somebody just came up to him with a spray bottle, like pss, 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 like you're right.
Maybe they
down.
have someone in Bigsby for him to hire. Even
yeah. It's like that scene in that Kirk Cameron Christmas movie where he's taking like a sip of hot cocoa, but you can tell there's nothing in the fucking mug. You know what I'm talking about? You ever seen that?
No.
It's fucking.
I'm gonna be real honest. I don't like Kirk Cameron at all.
Oh yeah, the guy.
I'm not gonna watch those films.
I'm not a fan of Kirk. Like it was a movie he made like a few years ago called Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas, where he's throwing this big.
Kirk Cameron ruins Christmas.
He rewrites the fucking Bible basically. He tells like alternate stories to like the Bible where the Saint Nick, the original Saint Nick, would kick people's asses.
No, okay. So actually, side note: Saint Nicholas did kick people's asses. I went to Catholic school. These things that I know.
Oh, okay.
Saint Nicholas punched a bishop in the face.
Oh.
And was sent to prison for it. That actually happened. So yeah, no, Saint Nicholas was actually a badass.
Oh, okay.
He did beat people up.
All right. All right. Well, okay. Kirk Cameron got that one on me.
I don't like you, Kirk Cameron, but you got that one right. So props.
Yeah. But anyway, so then the next day they've realized that the Grab Boys are on their way.
They are on their way, and Hiram gets a telegram.
Yeah, Hiram gets.
Or telegraph, or hears somehow hears that the Graboids are on their way to rejection.
Oh yeah, because
he gets word as he's traveling that.
So he sells like his gold watch or gold Buffalo coin, and he buys a fuck ton of guns.
Yeah,
and he comes back to the town on a
huge change of heart, and comes in with cavalry.
Yeah, he comes
ready
in
to go
with rifles, shotguns, all kinds of weapons, including a punt gun. Which punt gun is actually a very rare gun. Basically, what a punt gun is.
It is real.
It's a real gun.
It was a real gun.
I looked up the history because I actually saw this like on I think it was on like a gun show on Discovery Channel or something. Yeah. So I was actually been aware of these guns. Okay. I'm not a big. Here's the thing. I'm not a gun guy, but I have like a kind of interest in something on TV.
The mechanics of things are really interesting.
For like another reason why I like the reality show Forged in Fire. I'm not a knife or sword guy, but I do kind of like learning about stuff. But anyway, a punt gun basically is literally a giant shotgun, and it was used to shoot waterfowl or ducks or whatever in one shot. Like you would take out an entire group of ducks in one shot.
Flock.
Yeah, it is.
That's neat.
Yeah, it literally looks like a shotgun, like the
very effective, I'm sure.
Yeah, like the Jolly Green Giant would use this as his shotgun. It's really that big. I'm not even kidding. If you don't,
no, that's a really good way of putting it. It's a very big gun.
Oh my God, Jolly Green Giant versus Graboids.
Ooh.
We gotta
eat your vegetables. Poof poof.
The Graboids don't eat him because they're like he's not made of meat. That's his advantage, and he just starts.
He's like, I can survive. They don't want me.
He rips them out of the ground, just starts fucking.
That'd be great.
He fucking curb stomps them. It's like the most gruesome Jolly Green Giant commercial you've ever seen. But God damn it, you buy his fucking veggies after that.
Oh my God, I don't want that to happen, Mom. I'll take some green beans, please.
So they come up with a strategy where they place a rock in the middle of the town, and then they have a rope with like a triangle, and like they lower the rope so the triangle dings against a rock. And Bert's there with the punt gun ready to go. And the Graboids show up, and he misses with this giant fucking shotgun. Because it surprises them. Yeah, because they're like dinging on it for like 2 hours, right? And then eventually, and then he misses, and then they trick it into coming back up again, and he gets it, and it like blows a hole right through it, right? You know, it's like real solid. But then the next Graboid comes up, grabs the punt gun and destroys it, and
so now we have no more punt gun.
Yeah, no more punt gun. Goodbye, punt gun. We will miss you. And that's when they come up with. I think the next idea was like this is where the flag posting comes in, where Tecopa. I keep fucking up with that Tecopa's name. I don't know why. Tecopa takes an old style like. I guess saw, the kind where two people go back and forth on either side, and he takes the handle off of one side and he sticks it down into the post, and he starts smacking with the hammer, and the Graboid comes at full speed. And it's unfortunate that it's underground, because I would like to see the side of a Graboid just cut in half.
Yeah,
you see like its bloody goo come out of the ground, but so that
It was a neat idea.
Yeah.
So we have 2 down now.
Yeah. So the final one is like them coming up and they're like, we can make like Father Wong. He's like, I can make a bomb out of fireworks. And it's like, okay, he's using his Chinese heritage. He's using his fireworks knowledge and all that, and gunpowder and all that
Once
shit.
again, we get some dynamite action.
Yeah,
And
it
always happens in a Tremors film. Something's blowing up.
And Hiram's like, okay, be careful. We all got to walk around very slowly. Because, the last graboid's circling the town. And here's what I'm saying is, they're like, okay, everyone go grab the supplies. We'll meet right back here. And they all, they're all tiptoeing back. And I'm like, the graboid would be right on fucking top of them.
Yeah.
Come on.
I can still hear you.
Yeah. So they finally get it, and the graboid starts attacking before the bomb is finished. So they're trying to stall. The one graboid comes up to Mother Wong and the son, and the tentacle wraps around the son's arm to try to pull him down instead of biting down on the son.
Yeah, it's weird.
I
mean, maybe, like I said, maybe because they're young graboids, maybe they haven't formed teeth in there. I don't know. I mean, they started out not having the tentacles at all.
Yeah.
And they developed the tentacles. So maybe the tentacles are still developing. I don't know. It's a weird design.
Yeah.
I don't know if it gets explained later. It probably doesn't.
But anyway, right? I don't know. It's more of a problem for me. I think you're handling it better than I am. I'm being more.
No, I'm just thinking of how weird animals that molt and metamorphosize are in between stages.
I guess.
So I'm like, logically, maybe it's not fully developed, and it's obviously hungry, so it's going to do something.
Yeah. So anyway, they realize we don't have we don't have time to finish the bomb in time. It's not going to work.
There's not enough time. This thing is learning and smarter than the others.
Yeah,
there's always one.
Yeah, but no, it's the one. It's like Stumpy's grandpa or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Stumpy's grandfather somehow or something.
Completey. He's completey. But anyway, so we didn't mention this before, but this is what they used to kill the final graboids. We're going to this final confrontation.
Oh, I like. They have a scene.
They have and it's shown earlier in the film 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
They have this steam powered tractor trailer thing.
It's like an engine.
Yeah, it's a steam engine.
It's an engine tractor of some sort. Yeah.
And it's one of the highlights of their town. They have. And they realize we can use the engine, so they undo the big belt on it, kind of like a fan belt that's on the side of it, and instead they use it as a rope, and they use these giant ice picks. The kind of the old school, the big old blocks of ice back, they would grab it with these pincers and they pull it up and they would hold it. They do that. They tie it to the end of the belt, and they turn the steam engine on full power as Hiram hooks it onto the graboid's its ass.
Yeah, they trick this graboid into coming to the surface so that Hiram can attach this thing to the tail end of the graboid, and then when they turn the engine on full force, it reels the graboid
really
in
fast, too.
Really fast, like a fishing lure.
Yeah, a lot faster than I think that thing could be capable of.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Real fast into the wheel, and it just decapitates the graboid.
It slams into it so hard
that its head just goes flying off.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It is such a great final scene with the graboids.
Which, I'll say this, I like, because plenty of times we've seen graboids or shriekers or ass blasters been blown up with some kind of explosive. I like that they set up the explosive, but it's like a red herring. It's almost.
Yeah, it is.
And I like the kill, but like I said, my only problem with it is it really drags the graboid super fast.
Yeah, given how much that graboid must weigh, I really don't think that would have happened that quickly.
Yeah, I mean the graboids are the size of fucking whales.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of a cool death, but and once again, I know
it's a little unrealistic.
It's a little unrealistic.
But it is
for
really
cool. I know we're in the Tremors universe, but
I also really enjoy once again the common theme of coming up with plans. Coming up with a plan on your feet is a really good thing to be able to do in the Tremors universe. It'll keep you alive, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if anyone's really safe, but you better try to come up with a plan.
A little bit. You gotta show MacGyver how it's done. No. But anyway, so they defeat the final graboid. They have a little celebration, and the town now the mine back open. The town's getting better. Things seem to be on the proper track. And the final scene is we see Hiram with Sarah and the young Wong, and he's trying to like learn how to shoot better. He's got a pistol, and he's trying to shoot cans, and he's horrible at it. But as a thanks to Hiram, who they made a deal now that the mine's back open that that he first he was going to sell the mine to the townspeople, and then they were like it's your mine, man. Here's your mine. And he says, a couple of conditions. One condition is like we're going to use the money from the mine to build the town properly. You guys are going to have fucking walls. No more half building, half tent.
Yeah, he resettles.
Yeah,
renames it to Perfection.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the other thing. We have
to change the name.
We have to change the name, and we cannot tell anybody about
they decide to keep the Graboids a secret.
Yeah, and they don't call them Graboids. They call them
Dirt Dragons.
Dirt Dragons, which does not roll off the tongue.
No, but I do.
Dirt Dragons.
So I really enjoy the way this movie plays out, though, because if you have never seen a Tremors movie before, and this is the one that you decided to pick up for some reason, you can almost watch this on its own. And then watch the first one after it. In fact, I was thinking of doing that just to compare, because this is 100 years before the original attack, which is not the original.
Because you don't need to see the second and third one, because we don't have any shriekers or ass blasters.
No, so
you can skip the second, which I don't really recommend. But
no, don't do
that. But if you've just seen the first one, you've never seen the other ones, you can watch this one and you're not going to miss. Well, all you'll do is miss the references to the previous films. Little things.
No, that's very true.
Yeah, but you can watch it and still understand as long as you see the first one.
Yeah.
Because now Hiram has changed as a person, the townsfolk get him a little present, as now he's taken more of an interest in guns because of all this, and they bought him a fucking Gatling gun, which is awesome.
They did.
And they load it up, and he just starts cranking it. It's like pound, like da da da. He's like taking out all the cans.
This growing love of firearms beginning that I'm sure we all know is passed on clearly from generation to generation in that family.
Yeah. All right, and the credits roll. As far as generational thing, I feel like the movie's making it out to be that Hiram settles in perfection and that his family is there. But in the previous movies, Bert says that like he moved to Perfection Valley. So unless that really was like Hiram lived there and maybe his family moved away later and they moved back.
That's likely.
But
that's
Bert,
happened.
Yeah, but Bert makes it sound like he had no previous connection to Perfection before him and Heather moved there. So I feel like there's a bit of a continuity error.
Or maybe he doesn't know. I mean, there is this weird coincidental chance that he has no idea. Yeah. But it does. But it does kind of give you this feeling like the Gummer family and the Chang family have been there forever.
Yeah, the Changs I can see being a thing, especially.
And I do really enjoy that they set that up. That the
Chang Wongs, family, not the Wongs, the Wongs.
Yeah, that they have been there forever.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. It's the same convenience store, the same market from the very beginning.
Unfortunately, because from what we see in the original movie, it doesn't look like the town really ever grew that much because it
looks very old.
Yeah, like I wasn't expecting it to be like turned into New York fucking city, but I expected that like the way that this movie ends, you like if you've never seen any of the other movies before, you'd be like, oh, in modern day must be a pretty nice sized town. Like no, it's still middle of the fucking nowhere dirt town.
Yeah.
And where'd the hotel go? There's no hotel in the original movies. Where'd the fucking hotel go? Just didn't work out, I guess.
No, it didn't. They never had enough people come to stay in Perfection.
Yeah.
They only have like a population of 16 people or something.
But yeah, so anyway, overall thoughts on the film. Like I said before, most of the characters just really didn't do anything for me. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not expecting anything stupendous, right? But I found most of them forgettable. Like Guan's pretty memorable just because he spends most of the time with Hiram, and then you got the young Wong kid once again because he spends a lot of time with Hiram. But all the other people, I found them pretty forgettable. Like I said, we both agreed there's that one scene that just is out of place. That should have been earlier.
There's definitely some continuity issues. I think the fact that this is a sci-fi western gave me a lot of bias because I just got really excited. But I do enjoy this film.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt there was a bit of a lull in the film after we meet the grab lights, and between then and them bringing Black King Kelly back to the point. Like it just, like I understand they're giving a month's time for the graboids to grow or whatever.
Dramatic effect.
Yeah, but I feel like it kind of slows the film down. And overall, I think there's a pacing issue with this film. I felt like it just kind of like it drags in a lot of areas as much as being exciting. But once again, I credit. Like I like the idea of like the Western kind of thing going.
Yeah. Going back to doing, not a lot of CGI.
Yeah, exactly. I respect the special effects, even though at certain points you can tell, okay, that's a puppet, but it was like it's done as well as you can with a $5 million
budget.
Yeah, so, after all that stuff.
Which I know that sounds like a lot of money, but I'm going to continue grabbing the budgets for films so that we can compare.
Yeah,
that's really not a lot of money to make
a
film like this with.
Yeah. So overall, once again, like I think it's probably my least favorite so far out of the ones we've looked at. I don't hate the film, but I just don't think it really gave me that much fun and engagement as like some of the other ones did. I mean, once again, we're at the point of the franchise where like these are very low budget B films, but low budget B films can have their own enjoyment. And I don't just mean like, oh, it's so bad, it's hilarious, and even though a lot of them are, but along the same got some. If you can tell that people were actually working hard on a film and it's got some charm and it's got a decent idea, even a B movie can be an enjoyable film.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's why I don't hate it, because I can tell like there was effort put on to this film.
Yeah, I feel like this one was a lot of fun to make.
So anyway, your final thoughts.
I mean, this is personally my favorite one so far. I really enjoy. I think it's a fun movie. I like going back in time. I like having an origin story for two of the families in perfection. I really enjoy Michael Gross in this. I like that Hiram is such a different character from Bert. It's just really funny because, when you see that actor in this film, you expect a certain character out of him. So to see something completely so opposite to Bert was really funny for me. I don't know, different tastes. I really enjoyed it. It's my favorite so far. We'll see how I feel with 5 and 6. Like, my opinion could change because this is my first time going through a lot of these.
Yeah.
I had seen the first one multiple times, but I'm watching a lot of these ones for the first time with a lot of our viewers. So, my opinions are going to be a little different probably.
A little different. Yeah. Okay, well, next time, of course, we'll be tackling Tremors 5, which was the first one made after a long time, because Tremors 5 was only a few years old at the time of this recording.
Yeah, there's a long big gap.
Yeah, the biggest since the gap between 2 and 3.
Yes.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, because, next one's going to be a little interesting, because Bert, once again, is coming back, but we're taking, the setting is, I believe, somewhere in Africa.
Yeah, it's a jungle?
Yeah, a desert, more like a desert kind of jungle, because it's still graboids, because, we need that loose dirt, and we get introduced to the African breed of graboids.
Ooh.
Yes, but anyway... that's it for this episode of the P.O. Vincent podcast. If you want to listen to more episodes, our main hosting website is Ellipsin. You can follow us on there. But through there, you can find our other platforms, Spotify, Stitcher, we're on Apple Podcasts.
Follow us on Facebook, find us on YouTube, and if you really want to help support this and you want us to keep going, find our Patreon. If you want to donate, that'd be awesome. If not, just keep listening, keep watching. We really appreciate you guys partaking in this.
Yeah, every view, every like, comment, follow, subscribe, whatever you can do for the show, it helps out a ton.
We appreciate you guys.
Indeed. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun.
Yeah.
And thank you once again for checking things through our point of view. Take it easy.
Bye.